I'm sure you've been there. We all have, where we've seen a team that's really struggling to do Agile correctly. So, how do you turn that team around? And is it possible to do in 90 days? People often assume that you can fix a struggling team by tightening ceremonies, updating Jira or Azure Devops, or pushing velocity. It's a nice idea, but it's not real. Teams don't turn around because you're in cleaner stand-ups. They turn around because the system around them becomes clearer, more aligned, and more stable. After coaching and leading delivery teams across banks, utilities, the entertainment industry, airports, insurers, the Department of Defense, product companies, I've seen the same pattern repeat itself over and over again. Love takes time to heal when you're hurt. And so, oh, sorry, that's a song. A real turnaround takes time. 90 days is roughly the right horizon. Not because teams are slow, but because real change happens in stages. Stage one is diagnosis. Most struggling teams aren't actually struggling because of team issues. They're struggling because nobody's taking the time to understand what's really happening. The first stage is all about discovery. I sit with people. I watch I watch how work moves. I talk to the product owners, developers, testers, business analysts, functional analysts, technical analysts, any other key stakeholders. I look at the backlog, the quality of refinement, the flow of work, the environment setup, and how often things come back as rework. I'm looking for certain patterns. Is the backlog meaningful or is it just a parking lot? Does the product owner have authority or are they overridden often? Is the definition of done real or is it just a poster hanging in the office? Is quality consistent or done except? Are dependencies slowing everything down? Are priorities stable or constantly shifting? Are stakeholders aligned or pulling in different directions? By the end of this stage, the picture is usually painfully clear. And the moment the team sees it reflected back to them honestly, something shifts. You move from guessing to knowing exactly what you need to do. Stage two is called alignment. Once you understand the truth, the next step is to get everyone aligned around it. This is where real conversation happens. The team, the product owners, stakeholders, they need to share the same understanding of what's going wrong and why. This stage creates magnified breakthroughs. Developers finally hear what's blocking the PO. The PO finally sees how quality issues are slowing the team. Stakeholders finally understand why delivery feels inconsistent. And the team finally understands why done doesn't actually always mean done. This is also where definition of done becomes critical. Velocity means absolutely nothing without a real definition of done. And in a scaled environment, inconsistent definitions of done across squads is a disaster as well. If one squad automates tests and another doesn't, you're going to get uneven quality, uneven predictability, and a huge pile of hidden work that shows up late. A minimum standard definition of done at the Agile release train level or product group level isn't negotiable. It's a foundation of a stable delivery. Once everyone is aligned on reality and the expectations of done, then the team is ready to move forward. I agree. Stage three, rhythm. A team can't improve when the ground isn't shaking under them. Stabilization stage is about creating predictability. This is where good habits start forming. Planning becomes purposeful instead of rushed. The sprinkle actually guides the work. Refinement is consistent and collaborative. Stories become smaller and clearer. Quality becomes part of the flow and not an afterthought. Stand-ups become useful again. Dependencies and risks surface early. Stakeholder updates become stable instead of reactive. The goal is not perfection. The goal is calm. Once a team feels in control of its own workflow, everything else starts improving naturally. People communicate better. Issues surface earlier. Priorities feel clearer. The team stops firefighting and starts delivering. This is usually the turning point, not the finish line, but the point where things stop feeling chaotic. Stage four is true system fixes. Once the team has everything stable internally, the external problems start to become obvious. This is the stage where we go after those. Sometimes it's environment instability. Sometimes it's architecture sign-offs that cause delays. Other times it's unclear product strategy, or it's too many stakeholders pushing in different directions, or it's cross-team misalignment, or sometimes it's poor release processes, or it's governance that made sense 5 years ago but really doesn't make sense today. These blockers rarely belong to the team itself. They're part of a wider system of problems. This is the phase where I work with leadership, architecture, and other squads or program level roles to unblock the flow. When the outer system becomes smoother, then the team will suddenly feel faster without doing anything internally faster. This is where the team regains confidence, delivery becomes less painful, quality becomes smoother, and stakeholders begin trusting the team again. Then we get stage 5, which is momentum, my favorite stage. By the final stage, the team is no longer firefighting, they're building momentum. This is where we shift from fixing to growing. The product owner becomes way more strategic. The team becomes more proactive. Retros come from meaningful places instead of a ceremonial hitch. Quality becomes part of the future. The roadmap becomes clearer. Metrics start reflecting outcomes and not outputs. Velocity becomes by product and not a target. And the definition of done becomes normal and not enforced. Most importantly, the team becomes self-organizing, self-reflective, and self-correcting. A strong Scrum team doesn't necessarily always need a Scrum Master to police their behavior. They surface issues openly and early. They discuss them openly and adjust without waiting for someone to rescue them. When a team reaches this point, that's when a transformation is real. Not in Jira, not in a dashboard, but in how the team thinks and operates on a day-to-day basis. Most teams that appear to be struggling are most likely misaligned, overwhelmed, or buried in political friction. So when the stage is set right, the change feels natural. You're removing obstacles, building clarity, and helping build people who do their jobs without any chaos. It doesn't have to happen overnight, but it doesn't happen to be pushing velocity either at this point. It happens by helping the team rediscover what good looks like and giving them the environment that they need to deliver better than good. That's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have a topic you want us to discuss, learn more at AgileDad.com. We would love to hear from you. And as always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.